It's interesting that one of our speakers at the panel discussion referred to Sputnik, and it's maybe we should just think back how recently that was and how fundamentally the launch of that small satellite has changed all aspects of our society. Space-based services are now part of many aspects of modern day life. If we think of anything from television, media, telecommunications, weather forecasting, as we heard, they provide in many ways an example of our changing world and our change in society, ever more technologically advanced. But our world is changing in many other ways also. Population growth, demand for raw materials, the demand for natural resources, including water, and of course, encompassing all of those, climate change. Space-based services can help us monitor some of these changes, and they can also help us manage some of them, or at least help us to try to adapt to some of these changes. I can think of environmental change, anything from desertification to finding sources of fresh water, natural hazards, risk and response, and indeed mitigation. Just a few years ago, we saw how satellites were very quickly able to monitor an ice cloud coming from Iceland, which disrupted air travel right across the world. But these are just a few examples. Here in UNESCO, and remember UNESCO is the United Nations Education, Science and Cultural Organization, and it's our remit, as I heard earlier, to build peace in the minds of men and women. Last week, managers and the heads of UNESCO's three main site designations, World Heritage Sites, Biosphere Reserves, and Global Geoparks, met in China to discuss the application of space technology and space-based services to our heritage sites. Just one example of how these services can be used. The potential of the use of these services is, of course, huge. It ranges, as I say, from monitoring environmental change to actually helping some of our site managers better manage these special places across the world. But there was one message that came out from that conference last week, and which maybe I'd like to give to you as the space application community. And one of the great challenges is how do we build capacity in the knowledge and use of these services, and how do we transfer that technology to the people on the ground, the people who need that technology to implement it to create a better world for all of us. I think that this is an example of where we in UNESCO, in partnership with organizations such as the IAF, can really make a difference. It's our role to act as the bridge, if you like, between the providers of space services and the technology and the people on the ground who need to use it. I hope that the last few days and the discussions that you've had will now continue, and that in the years ahead we can build on what we've done over the last few days, and that we can maybe look back in the future to some concrete results, some concrete projects where the global space service community and has really made a tangible benefit to global society as a whole. I want to give apologies and good wishes from the Assistant Director General for Natural Sciences ad interim, Wendy Watson-Wright, who can't be with us here this afternoon. She asked me to pass on to all of you her very best wishes and good luck for the future. I'd like to thank on behalf of UNESCO the President of the IAF, Kiyoshi Higachi. It's been a great pleasure for us here in UNESCO to work with your organization over the last few years, and great to see how it all came together here in June. I want to very sincerely thank Christian Feischinger and his team, and you've seen them all around you through these last few days, working tirelessly to make this event a great success. I'm scared of missing out any names, but I do want to mention Claire, Julia Maria, Miriam, Isabella, and indeed Lisa, who was previously with the team as well. I remember in the early days of preparing for the conference, we had many conference calls and people calling in from across the world. So I want to thank the International Programme Committee, who reviewed abstracts and some of whom moderated sessions, along with the session coordinators, of course. I want to thank the plenary speakers and indeed all participants who have helped make the event the success it's been. Last, absolutely by no means least, of course, there's a certain gentleman who I'm sure we all would join me in giving our very sincere thanks to. He's worked with unbelievable passion. This is something he believes so much in, and I'm sure you would all like to join me in thanking Mr. Gérard Brachet. So finally, on behalf of UNESCO, I wish you all a good journey home, bon voyage, bon retour et bonne continuation. Merci beaucoup à tous.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you enjoyed this conference? No answer? Yes, I have. Because it was such an enlightening 3 days. It brought together the diversity of topics with the participation of industry, academia, space agencies. We have seen the current state of the space application, potential new avenues, and barriers that we will have to overcome. This planet seen from space looks so beautiful, but seen from viewpoint of the oceanography, the ocean pollution is a serious problem. Even though I have been working in the space field for more than 40 years, I learned a lot from this conference. As I said in my opening speech, innovative ideas come from the various of knowledge. I hope we could see this happen at this conference. I'd like to thank the plenary panel and keynote speakers who came from industries, agencies, academia, and international organizations to share their thought and experience. I'm delighted that eminent figures from such high-profile organizations were able to take part. A particularly special thanks go to our colleague, Mr. Gérard Brachet, who gave both his knowledge and a great deal of his free time toward organizing GLAC. Okay, let me ask you. Sorry, please stand up. Okay, thank you. Finally, I'd like to thank our co-organizer, UNESCO, for having helped to make this event happen and for providing these impressive surroundings. I hope to see many of you at the IAC's International Astronautical Congress taking place in Toronto from the 29th of September to 3rd of October. The IAF is further planning future and interesting global series conference, and I hope to see you there soon. Lastly, let me offer my message. GLAC means good luck. Thank you.